Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to ETF2L. We've missed you. It's been a little while. We had Christmas, we had New Year's, other holidays also are available. So we are back for some more TF2 action. We've got a whole season coming up this time around. We're not going to call it ETF2L Season 44. That'd be too boring. Instead, it's now the Winter 2023 showdown. We have the Premiership qualifiers coming up because there are going to be 8 teams in Prem, and it is shaping up to be a really good one. We have 2 teams tonight battling it out for that last spot in Prem. My name is Wandum. We've got Dr. Underscore here on a production, and I've got Dave tagging alongside here to get us through these games. How are we doing?
Hello, I'm doing pretty well. Looking forward to this season for sure. We'll have to see whether this game turns out to be a great one or not. It is perhaps on paper a little bit of a mismatch. We got Nati Noot, who are last season's second place team in Div 2, and League of Shadows, who are theoretically last season's Premiership runners-up, although they've had so many changes you can't even really call it the same team.
Yeah, you take a look at League of Shadows, you might get a little bit confused. You're like, wait, these guys, they finished second place Prem last season, right? They had the really big upset win, huge win for them over TF2 Easy, taking that second place spot in last season. But if you take a look at the rosters of this League of Shadows team, they are, besides Flick, a completely new team. There is not a single other player from that team last season still on the roster. There are some juicy details in the background. There's a video by the one and only Foreign with a PH floating around the internet that goes into a little bit of detail. Can't guarantee it's all entirely factual, but instead now we've still got Flick on Scout. Joining Flick is going to be Hemp, otherwise known in the past as Hempus. Then got Chris on Soldier. You might recognize Chris if you've been around for a little bit of a while. He played on Ascent EU back around season 30. They took 7. They took a map off 7, which is more than most ETF2L teams have ever done. Besides that, they've got Troy, also has played in Prem for a while, mid-table Premiership Soldier. Zams on demo. You might recognize Zams either for his really cool frag videos or for stepping in for the League of Shadows at Arcadia, where Deli unfortunately couldn't make it. Zams was able to step up and help them finish at 4th place at Arcadia. And then we've got Seeds joining them on Medic. Yes, Dave, how are we feeling about this squad?
Uncertain at the moment, I'd have to say. So obviously that Seeds Flick combo is very, very powerful. That is kind of the kind of combo you'd expect to be challenging for the upper spots in Prem. The soldiers, I think, is a real question mark. You got the double Irish soldiers, which either means they're the best of buds or they hate each other. You know, that's kind of how the Irish are like. They're both a bit rusty. They haven't played for a few seasons, so if they can find the level they had in the past, this should be a really strong team. But I think that's probably the largest question mark. Zams is not quite as experienced as the rest of the team as well, but from what I've seen of him, I think he's ready to step up.
Yeah, the sort of the general vibes at Arcadia was from pretty much every single member of the League of Shadows was that they felt that Zams was more than capable of stepping in on the demo man slot there for them, trying to contest the whole thing pretty much. I think was their goals there. Didn't quite make it happen, but now he's got a second shot. He's got his final Prem debut potentially coming up. Let's take a look across the pond, however. We've got Nati Noot, which you mentioned earlier. These guys finished second place Division 2 last season, and now they're trying to make it all the way. They're trying to skip a whole division. Is this allowed?
We'll have to see. They might just be gatekept by League of Shadows. But theoretically, they're here to challenge.
Take a look at their roster real quick. They have a lot of names that you will not recognize unless you're like deep in the European source. On Scouts, they've got Zin Soldat, also known as Ikidu. He likes to show up on DM sometimes and ruin the server, which is about as much as I can say from him. Hexary, I'm going to be honest, no idea. But as Foreign pointed out in his video, if I've never heard of Scouts in my life, and they're showing up in a Prem qualifiers, maybe that just means that they're completely goated, and they might just tear up everything.
Yeah, they're probably correct.
Yeah. Take a look at the soldiers. Again, you don't follow the lower divisions of a Premiership. You will not recognize either Rhythorn. I was informed by Force to call him Ryan, and then Nati Noot as well. Joining him, soldiers. Demoman is Plague Grey, has played a little bit of Premiership in the past, and then on Medic we have Forced, who played a Prem for a grand total of 4 weeks in Season 41. So this is a very green team. And I mean, honestly, I think we're lying to everyone involved if we don't paint these guys as heavy underdogs coming into this.
For sure. As you say, only a couple of them have Prem experience, and even then it's been spotty. I think Plague Grey got cut one season after 1 week or something. Something crazy like that. So they don't have a ton of experience. They are up and coming. They also haven't scrimmed as much as I would have liked if I wanted this to be a seriously competitive game. They've had a few scrims here and there, mostly against Div 1 teams, up and down results. So there's not too much really to say that paints a good picture for Nati Noot. But I do like the confidence of the fact that he named the team after himself. That's got to be a big ego boost.
I think just in general, getting the experience of playing sort of high attention game is always good, right? Like no matter like what division it is, just having that experience in a playoff in a difficult sort of longer best of 3 scenario is a really invaluable experience to have if you are a TF2 player. Because most of the time, if you're just playing TF2, you're playing the main season, you don't make playoffs that often, you do make playoffs, you don't get to play that many best of 3s. Getting that experience sooner rather than later is really good. I think tonight we're saying the names of a lot of these players for the first time, but it feels like at least for me, looking at some of these names, seeing how fast that they've sort of ascended their ranks so far, I feel like it's very likely that while this might be the first time we're saying the name, it probably will not be their last.
Yeah, for sure. And there was an article written by JMX and Elker they put together on TFTV if you want to find out a little bit more about the teams. And they did have some interviews. The Troy interviews are interesting just because you can see how much an insane gamer he is, literally insane. But also Nati Noot, you could see they have the right mindset. They're here for the experience. They're here to kind of build themselves. They're probably expected to end up in Div 1 at the end of the day, at the end of tonight's play. But if they do sneak into Prem, it's going to be tough for them. But definitely, I think they're ready. They maybe not ready for the challenge, but they want the challenge. They will step up if it does come to that at the end of the day.
It should be exciting for them. I also think you look across the board, however, for the League of Shadows, I feel like this is very much a litmus test. How well they do in this game, assuming that they win, is going to say a lot about how their ETF2L season is shaping up. If you look at the names on these teams, I think there are multiple players on this team who are like high Prem caliber players. Or I say multiple, I actually probably just mean Seeds, and then also Chris. I think both of these guys have proven themselves. Seeds obviously a little bit more so than Chris, but Chris, I think, is one of those players where he hasn't been around for a really long time, so I don't expect a lot of people in the chat right now to know who he is. But just know that Chris, when he did play, was incredibly good at the game. Not someone that shows up in the frag vids per se, but his DM is really, really good. And just, he's really smart about the game as well. He's an excellent, excellent roamer. And I think for the League of Shadows, they should be looking to take this pretty dominantly. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, map 1 of game number 1 of the ETF2L 6's Winter 2023 Premiership Qualifiers. It's the League of Shadows completely revamped their rosters versus Nati Noot. We're on to the first middle of process.
Yeah, a large bomb in from Nati Noot, but he does just get completely shut down by Outbud Flick. That scout combo's already getting frags, so they're already on the chase. There's a lot of spam coming, and actually the exit is pretty slow. Faust has taken a ton of damage, but does have enough players around him to get out of there, and they will at least have an Uber for last.
Yeah, Iggy just kind of ran forwards there, tried to get in onto the enemy team, making sure, honestly, didn't find anything, but just a delay onto Seeds is such a big factor and allows Force to get that 100% Uber of his own. You can see now Chris is edging towards into last, trying to see if he can make anything happen, but right now, just the League of Shadows that are postured up into lobby. So they're looking to get Soldier Sack forwards. It's just Chris bombing into a sentry gun. He cannot go anywhere. Actually, almost gets taken down. Just does manage to live, but it's a flick kill. So League of Shadows back onto second.
Yeah, Flick found a ton of space there through one, but there wasn't really a target for him to go for. Wanted to see if they could just sneak onto the medic, but it was well spotted, well positioned as well. They do find a nice little frag onto Nati Noot here in that shutter area, so I don't know if it just reduces the spam a little bit, going to allow them to walk back into lobby now that Flick is back up. But at the moment, we're just waiting for another kind of sack attempt to see if they can open stuff up.
Yep, it's still even Ubers, but the headshot onto Chris out of the Zinzol's that probably means that he's going nowhere. He's right back into the respawn queue. I'm curious to see how long they keep just attempting the single Chris soldier sack, because honestly, single soldier sacks in the process last, not very good. It's really hard to get anything done, especially with the sentry gun. And sniper as well, nah, you just makes it so hard. These guys can sit here for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 5 minutes to work with. That gives them, a few attempts. Flick going down earlier would have been a chance to go straight onto the sniper, straight onto spy, perhaps even as well. But at the moment, they just want to try and rely on Chris to find something. Just spamming at the moment. Mainly, Zam's just locking stuff down, trying to find some kind of angle or some kind of opening for Chris to launch himself in. They do have that gun. It's kind of a passive gun, slightly further back than perhaps we're used to seeing. But it's probably going to deny mostly the same kind of area. At the moment, Zinzol, the sniper, is the one really looking to control the base of stuff. Just looking down into that lobby area, seeing a couple of heads, but only that one frag so far.
I'm honestly surprised there hasn't been an off-class out of the League of Shadows yet. They're still just sitting in lobby, trying to make something happen. There we go. Troy is in as well, but the denial just comes out. Is 1 kill onto Rifle there. But that's 3 down for the League of Shadows. Sack attempt not working out, and this is now an angle for Nati Noot to try and push forwards here. They have that one single player advantage. Seeds is all the way back in choke, and actually eats a rocket. They have to give up second. They don't have the players, and Nati Noot, they take the advantage pretty well. Honestly, the League of Shadows, that sack is a bit questionable.
Yeah, I mean, you can afford to lose 2 soldiers and probably still hold it, but the loss of Flick as well, even if it was traded out for 1 man, it's going to be very, very difficult to hold with just 3 players there. They are trying to work their way back into second here, but at the moment, mostly getting shut down, but big bombs coming in from Troy. Chris does miss the air shot. A lot of damage on it to Faust. 17 HP, I'm being informed, and he will escape. There's not really an accessible health pack, so he's just going to have to wait back passive for a little bit of natural kind of increase in his health.
Xeri's actually managed to find a flank all the way behind to Flick.
I believe Wandum has dropped. Sorry, I thought it was me dropping, but either way, we are continuing. Just that Hexeri going down, and Seeds postured just in choke, healing stuff up. They are trying to make their way in here. League of Shadows, but Troy's not finding too much at the moment. Nati Noot bombing towards that sewer area, but Flick is going to completely deny him. Troy goes down on the flank, does give an option here for Nati Noot to try and make something. Rifle actually finds his way in, but gets absolutely dumpstered by Flick. That was very, very important shots to hit, because Ryan was so close to Seeds, but isn't going to be able to find anything there. Actually didn't even think he hit a rocket, so not quite working out, but very, very nearly. Certainly worrying times, I'd say. And actually, nice little frag from Zams onto Playgray is going to allow League of Shadows to roll themselves in easily. Zams has so much space in this upper lobby area. Going to walk all the way into last. They can just back it off from the Nati Noot side. Ryan is perhaps going to be spotted on this far side as well. He's going to actually take an arrow, somehow escape, gets out of there, somehow is able to resub, but still space abound for League of Shadows. Flick already on the point. Seeds is going to Uber in to save him. Ryan and Nati Noot both quite low, but counter Uber though is pretty nice here out of the Nati Noot team. They're going to probably catch Zams. Oh my god, Playgray landing on his head, but can't find the frag. No scout to follow up it's very, very scattered focus fire at the moment from Nati Noot. Hemp is really, really low, and Troy in the backlines as well. It's very awkward. Seeds doesn't really have a heal target, but walks in, chance it, and a beautiful air shot from Troy is going to allow them to muscle in and take that first round.
Zams opened up that push completely on his own, getting a really nice 2-pipe onto the scout there, walking in through 5. Really set up his team. Troy in behind as well, getting that scout kill. I mean, a demo man versus a scout, you pretty much never take the demo man to win. If you just hit the Chad pipes, you win anyway. Nice little Troy rocket as well, sets his team up. It's 1-0 now for the League of Shadows.
Yeah, nice stuff from them, but a little bit more aggressive this time from Nati Noot, being able to pin both the scouts back for League of Shadows, but they've eaten a lot more damage than their counterparts. Flick and Hemp are eager to chase down those soldiers that they know are on low ground. 5 sees a ton of damage as well. It's probably going to have to run out of here. They're not going to have heal sword. They've lost both their soldiers and their demo man, and they're running back to last similar situation to the last mid fight. A little bit longer, sticking around, but the outcome is the same.
I'm curious to see if League of Shadows just don't go for a really fast play here. Plague Gray is still dead, which means no demo man. Such got spotted as well. It means you can see how far forward the League of Shadows are playing, peeking onto last already, but they don't find any further picks. So they're gonna have to back up here now. Zams has a lobby already. He's gonna have the rest of his team, but the sniper headshot onto Troy will deny a lot.
Yeah, nice little headshot. Seeds ends up walking in, getting forced, taking some pain, getting forced out, and just going to run back. They're not even going to attempt to make a play onto Faust to equal things out, and it's going to allow here Nati Noot. They're going to walk in through most of that combo. There's a couple of traps they have to worry about. Little trap on this side has been spotted out by the scouts, and means they've been able to negotiate their way into second very, very comfortably, and they still have had to perhaps push mid here.
Yeah, they're looking to it. They have this big advantage still. You can see how far back. League of Shadows, they managed to find 1 kill onto Rifle, but the Uber just comes straight in onto Plague Ray. They take a lot of space on mid. They finally found a kill here. They needed that, and they've been looking for it for a little while. All the while, though, it's Chris on the back cap. He's forcing everyone behind. They didn't get a kill onto Seeds. There's only 1 pick, and now it's a disaster here for Nati Noot. They don't take second here. Chris is out. How does he get out?
Yeah, just that one player turning heads was more than enough. Everyone went back from Nati Noot. They were not certain themselves as well. Didn't have confidence in the respawning Riot to come in and clean stuff up. And yeah, unfortunate, because that kill onto Flick should have meant it was all over for mid. But as it is, they ended up on last at disadvantage as well.
Yeah, this is a big disadvantage. Since Osat was on the sniper, just didn't quite make it work out. Sentry gun now taken down already. You can see Chris has the high ground. He's taking the fight to Nati Noot. He's actually taking the dub as well. Now, yes, there's a heavy up, and the Uber does come out of force here. Seeds doesn't have, because they pop trying to get in. Kill onto Zams as well means that the League of Shadows, they're not able to push forward. Nati Noot are holding for now. With 2 players down, maybe. It doesn't even look like they're realistically. They're gonna maybe try and make this a push. It's hard.
Yeah, it seems both teams struggle a little bit with Uber counts, and there is a little play here in from Troy. Gets some damage out onto Plague Ray, but it's not going to be enough to secure the frag. They're still fighting on second here. They're not going to give it up easily, but Zams also eating pipe after. Sticky and Seeds going down quite low as well means it's probably done for second. But actually, Ryan finds his way in. Seeds wasn't looking, didn't have anyone in front of him in IT. He's going to get caught out, and now there's just a couple of players to try to equalise things. But somehow the DM from the League of Shadows side has equalised this somewhat. They do end up getting wiped, but it was dicey there for a sec.
Chris and Flick just kind of decide, okay, you kill ours, we'll kill yours as well. They just kind of ran in, completely tunneled in onto force, managed to get the frag, evens it out. Honestly, might be looking a little bit of a potential round to save there. That kill onto forced, if they didn't get that, he would have had such a big advantage. They could have rolled that into second, potentially in onto last as well, evened up the round count. So now, we get the frag, even Ubers. 1 team building on middle, the other team building on second. Never mind, League of Shadows, they're trying to just contest process middle here.
Yeah, everyone is on the high ground though for Nati Noot. It's going to be very, very difficult. Troy kind of waddles in, and tries to launch himself out, but everyone's just eating so much damage in this choke point. There's no way they're going to be able to hold it. Everyone's quite low. I'd like to see Nati Noot press the issue here. They must know. Playground must know he's done so much damage, but they're not pressing forward. I don't like this.
I mean, not only did they do a lot of damage, they also just have a soldier pick as well. That was a very pushable angle there. They're just a little bit faster. Instead, they're going to give the League of Shadows time to set up. It's even Ubers here. One soldier's bombing in. It's actually two, never mind. Seeds is in a corner, and he gets forced here. Rifle as well comes in, follows up on the bomb. To kill onto Chris on the backline as well. So, it is two soldiers down here, but the League of Shadows, they can't even realistically get onto middle. Playgray has this choke locked down, and this is a large Uber charge to play with for Nati Noot.
Nice little air shot from Zams, but sadly it was after his minute got forced. So while it did mean that one of the soldiers was avoided escaping, which otherwise could have been very difficult for them, does mean there is an option to at least give a proper hard defense of this disadvantaged second situation. We can see Nati Noot, they're trying to walk in through the sewer Al-Qaeda area. Nati Noot, the player, has jumped in, provided space for the rest of his team, and Hexeri has tons of space to walk in. They're just worried about stickies, they're worried about a soldier coming from somewhere. They don't quite have eyes on either of the soldiers, both in IT at the moment, but Seeds get forced out again. It's going to be a much better Uber here. Flick might get caught as well, he's getting juggled a little bit, and Seeds actually gets taken out. Zinsodat running in behind, getting that frag onto Seeds, and at the moment, it seems that Nati Noot are more team orientated. They're playing together a lot stronger, and they now have a really good opportunity to equalize things up.
That felt like such a weird fight from both teams. Actually looking like there's just two up for the League of Shadows here. Honestly, it felt like both teams were caught pants down. Nati Noot just managed to come out on top. That was such a weird fight from both teams. Nati Noot, they had an Ubercharge advantage, but they, instead of pushing in, using the advantage, they just instead chose to sit on the high ground, spam the League of Shadows enough for Seeds to get his own Uber. Seeds popped his Uber. They take the weirdest fight on low ground, sending two players behind. It was Rifle and getting killed on the flank there. They thought they had an angle to maybe wrap them around, but instead, the Uber fades. They just get two kills onto Seeds primarily, and it's a round for Nati Noot. It's even now, 1-1, and these soldiers are so fast on mid.
Yeah, they're very fast, but they're very fast to die as well. Nicely absorbed at the moment by the League of Shadows boys, and there we can see they want to go forward. Zams chasing forward. Gonna spam some stickers out long range, but not gonna find too much. Nice little kill onto Troy as well by Playgray. It's gonna just shut down the aggression a little bit. Actually, Chris gets caught as well. So now an opportunity. The spawners coming up for Nati Noot. They have a 6v4 very briefly here. It's a brief window, but we'll see whether they shut it or not.
I mean, they're just walking forward to an even Uber trade, but it's just two up for the League of Shadows. They know, because they find two kills of their own. Now it's an even fight here, and there's just not really any position here for Nati Noot. But they managed to force out the Uber of Seeds. Force just milks it for so long. They finally get piped onto him, manage to get the force out. One kill onto Playgray might stump the Uber fight a little bit, because now the League of Shadows, they're coming back in off of the player advantage, off of the demo kill. They managed to take so much on mid here. It's just Zinsodat running in onto Seeds, and he hits the shots! Seeds!
Crazy stuff. Zinsodat coming up with some clutch little plays so far this game, and yeah, options here for League of Shadows to try and at least find some space. Chris has found his way in through IT, but can see how far back Faust is able to play. Just a buffer of players around him, and yeah, there's not going to be too much threat onto him. Still a little while before they have that Uber up, but they're going to try and walk in dry right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to make it work as well. That kill means that League of Shadows, they just don't really want to contest. There's not really any position, and on top of that, there's not really an Uber advantage to play off either. They're so far back, and honestly, Nati Noot, they need to play this a little bit faster. It's 50% now for Seeds. 90 for Forced already. You can see they're walking in towards Al-Qaeda here. One soldier bomb just kind of trying to tickle them a little bit as they walk through the bombs now coming in. Fight to be had any second now, but League of Shadows, honestly, they can't take this. Don't have position. Walk back to last. Get an Uber charge of your own, but it's still advantage. It's Nati Noot pushing in on last.
Yeah, they've used it through one, but Seeds has already got that Uber up. There's a level 1 sentry gun that's eventually spammed down. Nati Noot's actually found some space in the bunker area behind as well. It does get cleaned up eventually. Still no foresight
Oh,
onto Seeds, and eventually does get foresight there. Ryan coming in, finding that little force, and they're not going to find too many frags on the chase, but the two soldiers have gone down for it.
Plague is just toying with Chris as well. That was such a nice bomb by Rifle, and he didn't actually get the damage, get the kill into Seeds, but Seeds was going to crater anyway. He had to pop that Uber. He would have just died to full damage. Really nice stuff from Natty. They're keeping themselves, like, surprisingly competitive. I'm going to be honest, it feels like they're playing the better, cleaner, more well-understood TF2 at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. They look a little bit more secure, they look a little bit more together, and you know, that early kind of nerves, that early kind of uncertainty seems to be just slowly dissipating from the system, and they're already trying to take it in through 4. They get damage out into Zams, don't clean up that frag, but now Nati Noot jumping deep into the left spawn door. Gets Zams as he comes out. Troy's picked up by Plague as well. Nati Noot still alive in the backlines, but I don't know if they have enough frags. Seeds is not going to have an Uber charge to deal with him, but Hemp and Flick are 2 scouts that you don't want to mess with, and Hexeri is well out of there with Faust.
Nati Noot, they put all of their faith in the Zuma scouts to try and go and just try to god on them. Complete ego fight there. Just send 2 scouts and hope it works. Unfortunately, they don't quite manage to fight the frags. They just didn't get enough kills on the entry there. Yes, they got an Uber charge pop in. They got a kill onto Zams, but it was honestly a little bit too late. By that time, Seeds was already 90% on mid now. There's a tiny advantage for Seeds here, but more importantly, it feels like, honestly, the positional advantage, it is there for League of Shadows. They managed to wrestle the high ground on middle here on into their favor, but now Nati Noot's coming across. League of Shadows, they're backed off into a corner, just sitting in choke. They don't want to fight this.
Yeah, Ryan once more. They know they got something to work with. Nati Noot is maybe going to find Chris. No, very capably jumped out of there. Chris, in a very sticky situation for him, is evacuated very nicely, and we're going to probably settle down to stalemate. It seems like it's been the first one for a while.
Yeah, I mean, teams have been pretty active. Curious to see if there's any cool, interesting ways of breaking the stalemate. Like sacking in, like jumping in 1 soldier through choke, so you think that guy's going in, but it's actually number 2 that you're not looking at. Crazy strat no one's ever seen before. It's actually Natty just jumping in through choke. The rest of his team now in sewer as well. It's both teams gonna look around. There's 1 kill onto Natty, and that means the rest of his team's just gonna back off. Everyone sitting around in choke here. The red team taking spam damage. No one wants to go in. Real question is, do we see an off class?
We haven't seen too much other than Sinzoda on the sniper on last, but no one's really kind of taken it out forward, you know, out of the forward spawn and further into the rest of the map. Only really on last, which, you know, you obviously have the option to just go off at any time. But yeah, at the moment, just looks like Nati Noot are happy to settle. They have their mid at the moment. There's not too much pressure on them. Nati Noot, soldier jumping in is mostly denied. Bit of a distraction, but no one really to follow up on it. So probably just finding a bit of info, finding out where Siege is postured, and to be honest, it's pretty standard positioning. So nothing crazy discovered there, I'd say, from that bomb.
Yeah, it's Nati Noot now. He's doing the slide in. He's going back. There we go. It's right foot pops in. He would have airshot Seeds, but instead he has to pop the Uber now. That force works out so well. The League of Shadows have to walk in through choke here. Chris now on the high bomb. They want to get this force out of force, or at least take the middle position. Honestly, I don't even think if you're Nati Noot, you can't really fight this. The position is taken by the League of Shadows. I think it's pretty much the best response they could hope for, but the soldiers are about to get forward spawns. It's going to be 2 more soldiers up. You can see the Uber charge is going to come out from PC pretty much immediately. The League of Shadows, they don't even manage to get the cap, but they also get the Uber force out. They manage to walk back themselves, and honestly, in the end, in this weird trade, it's actually Seed sitting ahead with a 40% advantage.
Yeah, not too bad overall for League of Shadows, and it looks like they already want to walk in dry. There's not really much for them to go off here, no real advantages, but they do find that frag onto Plague, just running across Zin, so that is in. He's going to find 2 frags. Flick and Zams both taken out, and now it's just the 2 alive for League of Shadows. They're going to have to run back to last. Seeds is going to come up as that Uber very shortly, but they're not going to be able to make much of that as they're already giving up second.
That's some Zuma Scout Chad energy right there. Like 20,000 hours of Kovacs paying off. As League of Shadows, they're looking to fight. I don't know if they can. This is really weird. They're sending their soldiers in, but Chris is actually just going to pay for it with his life. It is an uber advantage for C-Tip. It's so tiny at this point. They probably just have to sit back, be content with holding last. You're down a player as well. This is giving an opportunity for Nati Noot to come and try and find an angle. Heavy on point with his sentry gun as well. Coming out of Hemp. So a lot of teams, actually, no, it's just Troy getting caught out in lobby here. It's a lot of damage dealt by him, though. No follow-up should happen. But there we go. It's a rifle and trying a second in reverse. It gets taken down. It's 1 for 1. I wonder now. It feels like League of Shadows, they're just on the back foot the entire time. And I feel like they probably feel like they should not be having this hard of a time.
Yeah, I don't know what they would have been expecting going into this game. Probably not as much of a challenge as we've had so far. The clock is already ticking down. We're into the last kind of 8 minutes now coming up of this game, and yeah, 1-1, evenly poised. And as you say, certainly the last 10 minutes or so, it's been mostly in Nati Noot's favour. They've certainly looked a little bit more composed, a little bit more solid, and they're still in a position here where it's on them to try and make something happen. It's actually the Zin, so that sniper coming in through 1.
Just trying to peek around the corner here, see if anyone presents himself. He sees a sticky. He's being shot by Zams. Trying to see if he can make something happen. Instead, he's going to go into lobby here. There is a soldier, like, quite close, and it's a headshot onto Troy as well. Gets a little bit forwards now. Working his way over towards 5. Had a little bit of an angle onto C. Didn't quite manage to make it work. Instead, though, it's another kill onto a soldier. 2 soldiers down. This is a massive push angle here for Nati Noot. They're going to have to spot down the sentry gun. It is just sitting there on a point. The engineer has to do so much work to keep this alive, but now it's taken down. A headshot onto Flick as well. There's no one from the League of Shadows on the point. Zap just taking down the headshot. Seeds! And Nati Noot are making it happen. They're making it work, and they're 2-1 up.
Really smartly pushed, just all the pressure coming in from lobby, finding space for Zinsodat to find those angles with the sniper, and didn't miss, just hit everything, and there was no safe place to hide from that sniper where you weren't going to get spammed by Playgray, and just very, very nicely converted.
Such a nice push. The headshot comes out in a crucial moment. I don't like the sniper pushing it onto last, but if you just headshot the medic in a moment like that, it's so big. Now, this time around on middle, it's Zam's getting caught out here with Siege just getting taken down. Zam's still alive, but he will finally get caught. The fight happened on the left side. One soldier bombs in, gets a kill onto Playgray, but Forst is alive. 60% Uber charge. The vibes on the Nati Noot Mumble right now must be so nice. They're going to be pushing last with a nice little 80% advantage. Dave, what is happening?
That was pretty nuts. We'd seen they'd been mostly the aggressors on those mid-fights so far, but that time they were just a lot faster than League of Shadows. League of Shadows want to contest this second point. They do get the foresight flick, rug it in, but gives his life for it. Seeds is not going to have Uber to defend this, so they're pushing 6v4. They got just one Kappa. They get frag traded out onto Faust, but they still have enough of these gamers, enough fraggers. They go in and they get the cat.
They just kind of walk in. Yes, there's a kill onto Forster at the very end, but there's just so many players they can walk on through. Everyone taken down before the push even comes out. Chat, I want you to know right now that Ikidu is in the chat typing question marks, ace question marks, in the server chat as they take that round. Now, it's a League of Shadows on the back foot. There's only 5 minutes left here. They have to get 2 rounds, force it to a golden cap, and it's Troy with a really fast mid. It's the enemy PC who's going to try to make something happen here, but it's going to be a little bit of a slow mid, as there you go. Nati Noot, they're just going to walk across super fast, but it's actually Rifle getting taken down immediately here, as now the rest of the League of Shadows, they manage to take the enemy side here on the middle. Everyone's kind of bunched up into this corner here, as Troy has joined with the rest of his team. Now, Nati Noot, they're forced all the way back. They're in their own sewer here, and they're just so many players down. They haven't been able to find any kills here. There's so much damage on all of these members as a cleanup onto Playgray. Force doing his best to try and get out, and maybe he will. But the rest of his team is not there with him. He hasn't been building, so it's only going to be 95. Should have the overcharge, but the League of Shadows, they're taking second. They are bidding it on to last.
They're trying to walk in, already have their heal beam across Flick. waiting a long time, milking very, very nicely, but seems the Uber is out for Nati Noot, but now League of Shadows can use it back in aggressively, pinning everyone down in that right spawn door. Ryan goes down. Zinsonet is having to swap off the sniper. They've got the scout on the point head, but there we go. It's a round back, and it's back to 3-2. Nati Noot, though, still in the lead.
They're still in the lead, but that was a very, very, very fast response from the League of Shadows. Completely dominant. They take the mid-fight. They kind of just managed to completely outmaneuver them, setting in Troy behind. Nati Noot never really able to find any positioning at all onto that middle, and they managed to roll the advantage all the way into a round win. It looks like Troy once again sending it straight in onto PC. We're going to have to see what the Nati Noot do in a response. It looks like they're sending their own soldier here in onto choke. This is a slower fight, but Rifle on top is going to take so much damage. Now Troy's going to walk back in with the rest of his team. One kill onto Nati Noot is a decent start for League of Shadows, but need to find a little bit more damage onto the high ground. Is damage onto Playgray. He gets taken down. Rifle just so low on his own side, and the positioning now, Zinsoldat is not there. Rifle with a salvage bomb in onto Seeds, and he does manage to find him, but now it's just Xeri versus everyone on the red team. He has to try and keep Force alive. Doesn't manage to make it work. They lose their medic, but they gain everyone else. And the League of Shadows, they take another win. It's a very slow one.
Yeah, Zams is really the catalyst for that, just finding a lot of damage onto a bunch of different players. But yeah, the very well supported team rotated around with him very nicely. It did look briefly like Ryan had come in with something big to equalize stuff up, but again we saw, Faust just a little bit too far forward in these mids. You'd think as soon as Seeds goes down there, they just need to scoot out as fast as possible. Just caught a little bit too far forward, and there was no escape with the ominous massive League of Shadows players.
Xeri now on the sniper, sniping in through lower lobby here, trying to see if he can find an angle. This is interesting. See, many snipers try to snipe through lower lobby like that. Gonna try to catch out some player here.
Chris took the arrow there from that Troy, and he nearly died trying to jump out of there. They do come in with the Uber through second. That's used pretty cheaply at the end of the day. They've not got any kills, not got anything to work with. It's possible, to be honest, that they didn't even hear the Uber come out here from Nati Noot, or maybe they're just settling for a camp on last.
The condog play of just accidentally popping Uber is a scout peeking into lobby. Surely they realize they have ad, right, guys? They saw them pop Uber. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see what they popped to. If I were them, I'd have no idea. And so they're playing really far back. You see, they're setting up the gun. They're letting Seeds get the supercharge. This is as big as it could be here for League of Shadows, but it's actually time is like, it's not in their favor, right? They only have a minute to try and tie this up. There is a sniper on the enemy team. There is not a single off-class on the League of Shadows. You have under a minute now to try and figure out some sort of tech, and it's just going to be a push straight in. Sentry gun now taken down already. Sniper back in onto spawn here as a kill onto Rifle, and there is a Chris on top. Now, bomb comes forward, but so does the Uber out of Force. It's a kill onto Zams, and it's a kill onto Troy here. So many players are sitting up in panic room, and now the recollapse should be coming in from the League of Shadows. The damage is coming forward because Chris is in. He wants to deal damage, and Playgray is so very low, but it's everything onto Zams right now. The new recruit is not able to do it. It's 26 seconds left on the clock. 2 players alive, and Nati Noot are putting one foot in the door for Premiership.
Wow, and yeah, those 2 players alive are both spawners, so they got one last attempt. 10 seconds left. Hemp tries to walk in, sees a sentry gun, sees a heavy, sees a demo and a soldier fully buffed to deal with Troy. Again, just feeding in one by one. It's not going to happen. And Nati Noot take this first map.
That is a immediate map switch as well, which tells you one thing. I can tell you right now, the Mumble atmosphere in the League of Shadows is probably dire. I'm going to be honest. This is a map where you look at the player names on both these teams, you would expect the League of Shadows to absolutely hard stomp this team. This is a team that finished second place in Division 2 last season. And these guys have a Premiership winner and multiple veterans of the Prem scene in general. And they're just kind of getting beat up by the young kids. The Zoomers are just kind of taking over. And I mean, one thing, I did manage to get a few words with Forced. One thing he did say is that it felt like talking to him that they had no expectations going into this. It feels like they're just living off the pure good vibes. They win, they win. They lose, they lose. They don't really care. But he also did tell me that if he beat Flick, it would be the funniest thing he's ever done.
Well, certainly started off in a good fashion. They're certainly on course, and yeah, I don't think anyone was really expecting that. I'd never talked to a bunch of people, and everyone seemed to think it was gonna be one-sided. I mean, there were a couple of slightly questionable scrim results from League of Shadows, but nothing that really kind of postured towards this possibility. So yeah, at the moment they're gonna have to step it up, because that was some pretty dire stuff in the middle of that map.
Yeah, it feels like, honestly, they just... I don't want to say it, but it feels like soldier diff. I'm not gonna lie. What I saw were just... It felt like Rhythorn and Nati Noot were just able to play better in cohesion. They were able to get off some better bombs, and unfortunately, it just didn't... The synergy between Troy and Chris was just not up to the same standard. They really just weren't having the same amount of impact. You can see it kind of in the logs here. I don't want to harp on them too much because they are playing soldier on process. Which will give you these logs if both teams play relatively competently. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, Dave. Do you see anything in these logs tell you anything? These are process logs.
Yeah, none of the soldier logs look great. To be honest,
this feels like the most standard process logs I've ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna lie.
You look at these logs and there's not really anything to really stand out, other than perhaps the difference in the medic deaths. Faust going down just 3 times, Seeds going down 7. One of those was obviously very late in the mid-fight as well, so in terms of like the regular back and forth, Faust just going down twice. That was perhaps the biggest difference maker. They just found relatively easy forces onto Seeds and a few extra frags onto Seeds as well.
I think that actually is what worries me the most about League of Shadows, because Seeds does have a little bit of a history of choking and not performing well in important games, and he tends to be the type of choker where he's not the type of guy that will lose and get really angry. Instead, he kind of just shuts down. He shrivels inwards, and he becomes sort of just kind of a lesser version of himself. He doesn't communicate anymore. He is quite vocal when he does play, but he can just kind of be quiet and not do anything, not play as well, get in his own head. I think if you're in a situation like this is one of those moments where you need to find someone on your team to be able to pull this team back. If you're playing a team that you really feel like you should be beating, try to pull them back. We are playing Snakewater up next. It is a Gully Wash decider. Should we go to a third map? Honestly, from what we've seen, map number 1, process, not typically that soldier favored. I feel like on Snakewater, you have a little bit more, I think, influence if you are playing a soldier on this map. There's a little bit more room for doing big and creative things. I am, honestly, if I'm looking for members of the League of Shadows to step up, I'm looking for Chris and I'm looking at Troy to have big performances here to try and take this team forwards going into this next map.
Yeah, we didn't really see a huge amount of them on process. I think I wouldn't say either of them performed badly overall, but there wasn't kind of the same sync level as the soldiers on Nati Noot. They weren't just finding these just random players individually. They weren't even doing as many salvages, I would say. So yeah, I definitely think those are the players to step up. But again, Snakewater not often an ideal soldier map, so we'll have to see.
I think specifically on mids, there's a lot of room for different interpretations of how fast you want to play it. The entirety of Snakewater middle is just completely determined off of what the soldiers want to do. I think recently, specifically Pappy, he loves just going immediately, just kind of sending it as soon as he arrives. It was the meta for a really long time. But the soldier bombs, how coordinated they are such a big influence on how well this middle will turn out more than anything. How playable it is for the enemy team, mostly decided by how well the soldiers will sync up with their demos spam. coming into this map, I mentioned the soldiers a little bit, talked a little bit about seeds. Let's talk about the scouts here. How are you feeling about this scout matchup? Honestly, we set up this matchup as we have never heard. I have never heard of these guys before. Not really, anyway. But they're kind of playing on par with Flick and Hempus, which is not something I'd expect.
Yeah, I'd say if anything, the highest impact we've seen so far has definitely been from Xin Soldat. Definitely, in terms of making the plays, that one of the rounds was won off them making that big double frag on that fight on mid. That was just huge, and we saw the sniping on last as well, on both lasts in fact. So I didn't see too much from Hexari, but they ended up with decent logs. They did a solid job. They didn't look out of place. So there's nothing really to suggest that they won't do the same again. And if Xin Soldat has the same kind of level of impact, then we might be in for a similar story to the first map.
There's a dangerous little statistic I feel like I have to bring up, mainly because I saw it in the comments of the ETF2L profile where Doey said Hempus Curse versus Div2 team. And what he meant by that was that Hempus is currently 1-4 in playoff qualifiers played. She played a Prem qualifier all the way back in season 26 and lost. Then again, next season, she played Prem qualifiers, season 27, lost. Season 38, played with the bus crew, did take a dub, and then immediately with Trust a Theory, she played again, season 41, she lost. Not a good record. I feel like she as well needs to find a way back into the game. At League of Shadows, they took a loss, surprisingly, on map number 1 of a process. This time around, we are on Snakewater here for map number 2 of the ETF2L 6's Winter 2023 Showdown Premiership qualifiers here. It is Nati Noot looking to take down League of Shadows in an upset and take their spot, the 8th team in Prem here. We're on to middle. So far, teams taking a little bit slow.
Yeah, both teams just sitting back at the moment. Nati Noot trying to walk over, trying to find some space in this top right area. From their perspective, they'll actually be able to pin back Chris and find the frag out onto him as well. He ends up cratering Flick and is in an awkward situation, just going to give his life to allow Seeds to escape. But yeah, League of Shadows not getting anything happening on that mid fight and can, pray for the fact that Seeds got out alive.
Yeah, I mean, Seeds is out alive. This is not the end of the world, but it suddenly doesn't look convincing here. They tried to make something happen a little bit. Destroying the backline here on second. Doesn't make it work. Actually does. Get a sneaky little rocket onto Ryphorn. Doesn't really do anything, honestly. Just kind of counts as soldier sack. Even Ubers. Now Hempus. She's up on the sniper. And trying to make something happen here. As both teams even out. There is no off classes here for the side of Nati Noot. I say that. Immediate headshot onto Nati Noot probably means that he's going to go back into spawn, change it up. As there we go. Yep, it is Ikidu on this sniper.
Yeah, we've already seen what they could do on that first map, and it's going to be mostly down to them. But Hemp is actually going to try and find some space for herself in the lobby area, just pumping the heels forward onto Zams and Hemp. No real support other than that demo man, just to kind of lock down that big door area. But at the moment, a little bit of rotation. 6 players up for both sides, sniper on both sides, so the SVS is going to be interesting to see.
It's pretty much the only thing happening, right? I mean, I guess you can leave it to the Zoomers to try and figure out finally how to counter the sentry gun, because it is just so completely obnoxious. Soldier kill doesn't quite come forwards. Instead, it's still just going to be Zenzol, Dat, and Hempus battling out on this sniper here. It's peek, maybe through shutters. Also, Dat lining it up, but it's only going to find an engineer, but it is a kill nonetheless. Headshot on to the sniper of Hempus as well. This opens up a lot of doors for Ikidu here. He's going to rotate around. Going forwards. Is Hempus just maybe going to get helped by her team rather, as Julius Zams does combine, but actually the bomb just comes in out of Troy. Gets the force onto a force here, and that's really, really good for the League of Shadows. Losing that Uber charge. you know, losing the overcharge on the enemy team. It's so nice for them now. They're back on to second here on Nati Noot. Such a big advantage for the Shadows. Surely this push out onto second will go well for them.
We don't want to jinx it. They're going to actually pop straight out. They saw Nati Noot come in and just pop through it. I don't know if they're worried about stickies or not, but they're going to try and maybe chase into mid. There is still a sniper up, but Chris getting caught in that lower area is not great news for League of Shadows. Ubers are... they're definitely in Nati Noot's favour, but it's not going to be up for a while. But a couple of frags that they found in the saw area is actually going to allow them to push in before that Uber's even up and maybe use that advantage for last.
Yeah, they managed to kind of get forward. I'm a little bit worried about this advantage for last, because they're only 20% advantage, and they have a sniper. Scout spawner as well, because they're probably just not really realistically in any position to make something happen, unless, of course, there's insult that. Just kind of walking forwards, find a little bit of a headshot, maybe? Question mark? I guarantee you right now. Okay, did get it. Now it's an opening kill. That headshot onto Chris is a really nice start, but it's not enough. Just one soldier kill. He's going to open the door for the rest of his team to try and come forward. It's a soldier sacking onto Seeds. Doesn't quite get the rockets off, but no, Rifle one is in. And that is a force onto Seeds. 2 down though. They sack both soldiers in, and they have a sniper on second as well. This is not a holdable position for Nati Noot at all, but they should just back off. They're going to wait for their spawners. There is no position taken. League of Shadows, they stay on last. They don't even try to make it happen.
Yes, curious from League of Shadows. You'd expect them to at least throw a few bodies into second, make an attempt, but it looks like they're going to rely on their last hold, going to rely on trying to hold it at this disadvantage, make sure they have all 6 players up, make sure they have buffs on everyone, and they're more confident doing that than pushing out and trying to force Faust out, even despite the fact there was that sniper up.
Now it's going to be Flick's turn on the sniper here on the red side, but it's just an Uber coming in out of Nati Noot here, straight in onto Playground. It's essentially going to take him down immediately. Now, the rest of the team does find a kill onto Troy. It's Chris bombing in, trying to make something happen, but there's no real contest here for League of Shadows. Actually, health bars aren't that big for Nati Noot. They're going to sit back on left, try to heal up right now, and the counter bomb's now coming forwards. They have some picks to make it work, as Zams is trying to run in, finds one kill onto the scout, but Seeds has just barely managed to kite it out long enough, and Nati Noot, they don't quite manage to convert, but they do get the kills and an Ubercharge advantage of their own. They just need to hold on to second. They can take this refight, but the League of Shadows, they want this.
Beam is on the double scouts going forward. Playgrave, perhaps caught, just juggled in a little bit. Cincinnati's actually going to find an arrow and probably escape, but they are going to have to back up to mid here. Nati Noot, very nicely done by League of Shadows, just mushing their way onto second, putting the heals onto those important scout classes and not really stopping here.
Stickies almost find something on to Force here, but instead it's actually just an Uber straight in onto lobby. A lot of damage is dealt, and Seeds runs back but doesn't have a scout with him, so just gets taken down here by Zinsoldat. Now it's a little bit of a skirmish happening on second right now, trying to make the block happen, making sure that Nati Noot do not find the round immediately. Kill onto Troy now means that Flick has to win the 1v1. It just doesn't. Zinsoldat is running around on all of them here. Chris taken down as well. It's a wipe for the League of Shadows. They have 2 spawners coming up, actually make that 3, but are they on the point in time? It just doesn't look like it. Nati Noot are making it happen on map number 2.
Wow, that was crazy stuff all round. It looked like it was gonna go decently for League of Shadows when those scouts caught a player in cheese, but they were so in sync in that play, they weren't supporting Seeds. He got chased all the way back to spawn. Really nice shot from Playgray, air shot as he died, and that just did enough damage with that one play that they were able to convert it into that round.
This is really hard for League of Shadows now. Now you're down a round on Snakewater is a map that you can play really slowly if you want. Soldier bombs are pretty fast out of Troy and Chris. Try to get damage onto Force, but he just dodges it so well. In the meantime, Nati Noot's just found a kill onto Seeds. Yes, he goes down for it, but you take that any day of the week. You can see now the counter bombs are coming out of the red team, trying to make something happen, but they just can't find any kills. It's such a good mid. Force does such a good job of denying, just completely dodges all of the bomb. It's a clean wipe for Nati Noot here as well. They have 100%. This is looking potentially, there's just another round for them.
Classic stuff. Both soldiers go in deep, follow up on the damage, getting that frag onto the medic, and then just a beautiful little blob to support Faust, keep him alive. Nice and safe, just playing back, absorbing all the necessary aggression that came in, and yeah, just very nicely done. And as you say, now they have an opportunity, uber advantage to push it to last.
It is all eyes onto Flick right now and his sniper. He's going to have to try and make something happen here. A kill is absolutely essential for them to try and hold on to this series. Ubercharge is going to come in pretty much immediately here, and Sentry going to take it down once again. A lot of cap time here is finally, there are red members on the point, but there's only one, and Chris is just taken down. The rest of the team is nowhere to be found. It's a 2-0 now. This is looking dominant. Nati Noot, they are squarely ahead of the League of Shadows.
Such a clean last push, just off the sheer amount of cap zone they immediately got. I didn't see which scout it was, but they did go down for it eventually, but it just allowed Plagueway to walk back on and just tickle it for a second, and there we go. Nati Noot completely ascended right now.
They're playing so well. It's so nice to see these newcomers coming in and really taking it to the old dogs. They tried to just send it forwards in this middle and it just doesn't work. Seed's immediately taken down. Faust is completely safe, but it actually does mean that the rest of the players on the League of Shadows, they managed to take the midpoint for now, but the heals are still in the blue team's favor and come right back in. As both teams should be getting spawns. It's not the end of the world. Seed's getting a forward spawn, but it is a big, meaty, hefty advantage here for Faust to try and push this in onto mid.
Yeah, at the moment they're really far back in their own, almost in their own lobby area now, walking out to catwalk, but allowing a lot of space for League of Shadows to set up. They've already got a couple of players in, but actually Troy kind of gets destroyed coming in. They're going to find that frag onto Hemp as well and throwing 2 away. Bought a little bit of time here, but now with the uber advantage and 2 frags, going to be very easy here for Nati Noot to walk in. They just have to worry about perhaps a couple of stickies here and there, but I don't think Zamzi even has them set up.
There's just nothing here, really here for them. Seeds finally managed to get out Uber, so they didn't lose the end of the world. That was really scary for them, losing 2 and then also having that Uber descent. Thankfully, they managed to kite it back enough that now they're in an even situation. But when you're in an even situation, 2 rounds down, yes, there's 20 minutes left on the clock, but this is not good for the League of Shadows. They have to honestly try and make something happen. Feels like the ball hasn't been in their court the entire time that we've been in this on this map so far. It really feels like Nati Noot, they're just in control. They're not letting League of Shadows really get away with anything. Now, eyes are all on to the League of Shadows flank. They have to try and just make something happen. Make something work. Because they do kind of, I don't want to say it, they need a miracle. They do need a miracle.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still a long time. It's not quite a miracle at this stage, but certainly against them. And Snakewater is one of these maps where the mid control is so important because most maps it's useful to have mid. You can sack in a little bit easier off mid, but with Snakewater you have so much extra control of the saw area, of the window, that it's much easier to sack into second than it is to mid. So having to come in, go try to make a play into mid from second is awkward. And actually you can see Ryan immediately jumping in, trying to get at least sight down onto Seeds, some damage, but wasn't able to find a rocket. And I don't know if that's perhaps the smartest play. It's going to allow Troy some space in. He walks in through catwalk, probably going to get cleaned up eventually. Chris has found space as well. Flick is risking it. They're going to have to take a few risks here, League of Shadows, just losing that one player in Troy and then probably back it up just for now.
But they lose the player. They don't really manage to take any space off of it. Now the counter-sack can just come in here. Just so much pressure here for the League of Shadows. They're just so far back. And Rhythorn bombs in. Lose one soldier. They get the force onto Seeds as well. They do have Nati Noot. A little bit of an awkward position as well. Is in behind. Will probably end up going down rather late. But that Uber force, it's 2 soldiers down. But it's just, they just have an Uber. Force is so far back. League of Shadows, they're never going to get this force. It's going to be so easy for Nati Noot to just come right back in with the super charge. They're going to get their players back up. Yes, now you died a little bit late. Doesn't matter. He's going to be there with his team. It's going to be looking so nice for them. This is such... I mean, what is happening?
Just right here, really nice rocket up to Seeds. Seeds was trying to just dip under him, dodge that rocket, but he ended up eating kind of a headshot rocket and just had to pop out because of it. No, you can't serve a direct rocket like that. Troy's actually gone down on the flank. Chris is eating pain as well. They're going to be able to trade out here. Seeds, so they've built very, very fast as is kind of a custom of his play. But Zams is caught awkwardly in lobby. They're just getting crushed here. Playgrade's in Soldat chasing forward. Playgrade going to lock down the spawn. Second cap is in. 2 soldiers and a scout on this last point. And there we go. 3-0.
How did they lose that fight in lobby? That was disgusting. That was an icky dude just all the way in. He was like 4 HP. Somehow doesn't get taken down. The collapse is just there for them. These Shadows, they beef their shots, they beef the push, they don't get anything, and now they're 3-0 down. Talking earlier, it's 20 minutes. I mean, honestly, on pace for a 5-0.
Yeah, and, I poo-pooed the idea of it being a miracle. A couple of minutes ago, it started to get more towards that, but Big Mom coming in from Troy, going to land on Faust, nuke him down, but Seeds is going to get traded out. Scrappy fighting Hixeri. Very low, gets cleaned up as well. Everyone's low other than Nati Noot, just the one player with a bit of health, but has had to back out of there. He's picked up the health pack, but put himself out of that mid-fight, and it's going to mean that League of Shadows at least take this mid-fight and maybe have some kind of hope in this game.
The hope is that they killed Faust, so instead of an Uber disad, it's actually just equal Ubers.
Oh, is it though? Seeds coming up on the crit streak.
Oh my god. This is how you know that they're far back. Honestly, giving anyone like a fat crits Krieg is probably honestly more than anything. I was phrasing it as a miracle earlier. What you really need is a morale boosting play. A demo man just getting a nice little crits is a way to kind of awaken the spirits of the team, shift up the pace a little bit. There is a sniper though, and the headshot onto Zams as he's trying to scout out the area just kicks him down. And now, yes, they still have the crits, but Faust is an Uber charge. That headshot is so well timed.
Yeah, you talk about a morale boost, but what about a morale-sapping headshot onto your demo as that crits came up? Possibly they know about it as well, because they're just trading straight in. They must have seen that crit streak, and they're going to just get the kill onto Seeds and Chris. Still some fighting. Zams is trying to walk back in. They do clean up Nati Noot, but Flick and Zams, the only survivors. That Beam is still up for Playgrade and Hixeri. They're going to walk in, just dodge a few stickies here and there. Seeds has spawned and back up, but Faust is going to have a considerable advantage.
This is... I mean, that headshot was so nice onto Zams. It feels like, honestly, like, it was just a natural course of events. That, yeah, of course, you lose your demo man like that, you use the crits advantage that you have, and now it's just such a nice little play here for Nati Noot. They're in such a good position. Seeds now is off the crits, but it's a giant disadvantage for him. They're sitting on second. They don't really have any position on second to do with now. It's 13 minutes on the clock, and they need, honestly, they need something for Nati Noot to go wrong here. The Uber's coming out. They're not really finding any kills. I say that. It's 1 kill onto Troy. It's another kill onto Chris. No soldiers for the League of Shadows to try and hold last, and it's Nati Noot just pushing forwards on to last as well. Zinsoldat is feeling himself, walking forwards. Kill onto Hempus, onto Julius, onto Seeds, and onto Flick, and it's Nati Noot. They're 4-0 up. And Nati Noot, they want to go to Prem, man. They're going to go to Prem.
Just beautiful stuff, and that push was absolutely exactly what you want to see. Just absolutely deserving of Prem based on that push. Just got those couple of frags in that Uber, and then just took their time, used the couple of extra players they had, and there we go, 4-0 and into this next mid-fight.
Oh my god.
Could be the final one.
This is a team that is just trying to rub it in. They're on a Nati Noot heavy to mid. Just trying to rub it in their faces. Actually, it's not even the worst thing in the world. I say you just kind of need the red team coordinate the soldier bomb instead of just sitting far back and letting the heavy spam. It kind of just works. Kill now on to Zinsoldat, and it means now there's just no position anymore. Without the soldier, it's a kill onto the heavy as well. One soldier in the air, rifle doesn't find anything. As heavy, it's very playful. I really enjoy it, but it is a mid-fight victory. for the League of Shadows. They kind of just... They're pushing here because they have 3 kills, but they're also even Ubers. This is not the end of the world. They can push in, get a force here onto Forced, and it's honestly kind of nice.
Yeah, but there's not giving anything up here, Nati Noot there. Him, the one soldier, is going to lock stuff down. Chris does find some space. Oh, but gets denied. Faust in the corner, but not any damage. But it's capped on from Flick. It takes a while for it to go down. They actually get the force out as Faust has to jump on the point to block. Eats a meat shot from Flick. And there we go. That was exactly what League of Shadows wanted. If they are to come back into it, they get the force out. They have an uber advantage. They still have control of second. And they have a ton of cap time still for this next push.
They do have a ton of cap time. I think most of it is going to fade by the time they get back, but it's really big. They still have that 1 kill on to Ikidu there as well. He's going to come back up. He's still going to be on this sniper. This is the sole ray of hope for the League of Shadows. They really need to get this round in. There's just not that much time for them not to go forward. The Uber now is going to come forward on to the sentry gun. Taken down. Now Scout's playing the point, taking care of the stickies, but it's going to be dead onto Flick. 1 kill onto Nati Noot is pretty good, but now the heavy comes up. Demo Man killed as well. 1 heavy is all that remains here for the side of Nati Noot, because 4's going to go down. It's Hexari as well on the Scout trying to make it work. He doesn't quite make it happen. It's 1 kill on to Zams. But finally, the League of Shadows are on the board. All they need is for Nati Noot not to run heavy to mid. Or to keep running heavy to mid, rather. They keep winning the mid fights, and it's all fine.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be going heavy this time, that's for sure. We are back at 4-1. It's a 3-round difference. There's still 10 minutes left, so it's still very much game on. And League of Shadow desperately did that. Looked dicey for a second, but here we go into this next mid-fight. Aggression from Chris, just finding a little bit of an angle in this top left area, spamming some long-range rocket. Zams has a little bit more space than Playgray. But does eat some damage for it. Big bombs in by the soldiers. 1 fake bomb from Nati Noot, but it's Ryan who lands on scenes, doesn't get any damage down though. And suddenly the health for Nati Noot's side is not looking so good. And they're going to have to back out, but Playgray's isolated. He's running out through lower. Just spams enough pipes to distract his opposition and does get himself safely out to second.
They're going to keep pushing, though. They have this kill onto the soldier. They're going to try and make this work. Nati Noot tries to bump forward here, tries to get the force onto Seeds, but doesn't make it. Now it's another soldier dead. The League of Shadows can keep pushing this. The Uber now comes out of force as the counter Uber is popped by Seeds finally. Not really that much of a position for League of Shadows. There we go. It finally comes back up. The Uber charge doesn't really find any kills. It's 1 onto Ikidu. Maybe a soldier is caught here in Cheese as well. He's so low in lobby. Is rifled. Now 3 dead on the side of Nati Noot. They're losing somehow. A little bit of control of this game here, as now Force drops dangerously low to a bomb coming in, but it's a kill onto Playgray. Damage onto the point. Nati Noot has found so many. They're cleaning up here. The rockets come forward. It's just Zams. He has to hit the pipes of his life here to try and make it happen, but he's not with his med. He's going to have to run back out. And Nati Noot, they stay in this game. That looked like it was a round over, but the bomb onto the point, and they managed to clean it up.
That was just crazy stuff all around. Flick found so much space in through drop down. Demi didn't see him for ages. Faust hit a nut surf to escape as he was bombed on the point. And then Nati Noot got like 3 kills just spamming rockets down in the pipe through that little hole on the left hand side. Crazy stuff all around, but Nati Noot survived for now. They're ticking the clock down.
They're taking the clock down here, and that's honestly all they have to do. Now the soldier of Nati Noot is going to have to be a little bit careful. Was a little bit tiny advantage for Forster. That was a really nice body shot by Zinzel there onto Troy. Just kind of quick scope, like no scope actually in the air. And now Nati actually just goes in. He gets the force on to Seeds. And now it's just such a horrible fight here for the League of Shadows. They're down 100%. There's such a big advantage here for Nati Noot. Question is, do you push? Surely you push, right? You must.
I mean, we saw in that previous map, they didn't want to push. You know, it was obviously a shorter time frame. This time again, I don't think they're going to push because they don't really have anything too much to gain from it. They're already 3 rounds up. That's already more than enough to make a couple of mistakes and still win the game. So they're just going to take an extra kind of 40 seconds at least off and, you know, allow Seeds to build that Uber back. But actually, nice little headshot onto Zams. Going to shut some stuff down, and League of Shadows back to the drawing board.
Zams really wanted to try and make that work. Unfortunately, it goes in a little bit too far forwards and doesn't manage to make it happen. Now, we are just on the mid. It's a sniper out of Ikidu here, trying to make something happen. In on to second headshot onto Chris. It's a decent start. Wonder if he can make a little bit more happen. It's a demo man rolling out on his scope. Hasn't found anything yet. It's just people going around. It's a conch here of Nati Noot as well. Just trying to build it up. There we go. Another little damage. Actually, just the Uber comes in out of lower here. The Uber trade comes forwards. And to kill onto Playgray here. No, Demo Man for the blue side makes it really hard now for the blue team to hold. Ikidu is still sniping, and he doesn't hit the shot. Now, Rifle dead as well. Makes this a golden opportunity here for the League of Shadows to try and crawl back in. It's just forced all on his lonesome. Trying to hold the point. The crunch is here. The League of Shadows are trying to climb back. There are just 6 minutes left for 2 more rounds to bring this to a golden cap. 3 rounds for a map win, but it feels like the League of Shadows have found something and they are back in onto this game.
Yeah, nice little stuff just doing that Uber trade in from low. I think that's a TF2 easy playbook play, and Nati Noot teams sadly were not positioned well enough for it, and they were punished. It's getting a little bit tense now.
A little bit tense. You can see this time around the mid bombs of the soldiers don't really work once again. It's Nati Noot trying to get aggressive and Rifle as well, but they just take so much damage. The bombs have to be cancelled. Now 1 kill onto Rifle here as well. Is Julius doing so much damage onto Nati Noot as well. There's no soldiers and there's just no Nati Noot on middle anymore. They're back onto lobby already. Even Ubers, they're going to go back to last and just try to run down the clock as much as they can here. They're 2 rounds up. You play so safe.
Yeah, relatively low risk mid, just putting those soldiers in, trying to make their aggression, just try and desperately make something with that and making sure the rest of the team survives, so they have those 4 on last, they have that Uber up on last. Got a sniper up on last right now, Zinsoda rolling out on sniper, as we've seen quite a lot throughout the game, but with that frag onto Flick is going to allow them to get aggression, and actually Nati Noot's peeked in to a lower lobby and found another frag onto the other scout, Hempus.
Yeah, Hempus is taken down as well. It's a counter frag onto Nati. Should shut down the push for now. Sniper's still up. It's Ikidu trying to make something happen here, just sitting on the left side. Soldier now bombing in, gets denied. Only finds a little bit of damage on to Force. Instead, he's going to be right back in right now to even Ubers. But this is such a favorable position if you want Nati Noot. The whole team, you can just sit back, relax. It's League of Shadows that are on a timer and the push is coming in. Now, Sentry Gun has to get taken care of and the Ubers are traded, but there is just no position. Flick is the only one taken down by this Uber. There is no post-fight to be had. Potential, the trade, it doesn't work out for them. Instead, they're going to be back into lobby. They just kind of have to push this anyway. They don't have time to do anything else. And Chris is bombing in. Wants to get into Force, but the Sentry Gun denies him as well. Is Troy going down? And it's 3 down for the League of Shadows to try to make the 5v6 Force happen, and it just doesn't work. The soldiers don't do anything. The Sentry Gun's right back up, and we're right back where we started. This is right where Nati want them.
Yeah, they had that brief opportunity with that no Sentry Gun, but that was such a nuts headshot from Zinso, that the air headshot to deny the soldier just a moment ago. That was absolutely clutch, because otherwise Faust definitely would have got forced. As it is, it's now ticking down 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the timer. Big bomb coming in through the left-hand side by Troy, but he's cleaned up pretty quickly as well. Zams' headshot once more. The Zinso, that sniper, is absolutely carrying at the moment. There's space for Flick, but there's death for Flick as well. Goes straight into that kill feed and into the respawn queue. And Nati Noot, they're happy to sit on last, happy to posture up with this sniper, with this Sentry Gun. Not going to make a play onto second, even with those 3 picks. I guess losing the demo man Playgray means they're a little bit more cautious, but there's absolutely no reason for them to push here.
The trade is just coming in. League of Shadows just have to keep throwing stuff at the wall, hope something sticks. Instead, it's the soldier trade until lower, and Hempers gets taken down in the fight. Chris can't get in, but a kill onto Rifle might just be the angle that the League of Shadows, they honestly just kind of have to take, but they need to find a way to deal with the sentry gun. It can be so hard, but Flick is taken down before the rest of his team could get in. The synergy's not there. The sniper's keeping everyone back in foot, and they are forced back on to second. It is 2 minutes, 50 seconds now, Dave. Not a lot of time. Even if you want to send this to a golden cap, you have to get around right now. League of Shadows. You have to find something, like, now.
Yeah, they've done a good job so far, like just trying to throw the dice, try to make stuff happen, but that sentry gun is an annoying presence. Does eventually get cleaned up, but it just gives some nice crits to that engineer. Seeds take so much damage. Trying to walk in is going to have to kite just a little bit. Still doesn't have an Uber, but actually Xeri is going to get kills with that frontier justice crits. Just 2 up here for League of Shadows. Seeds and Flick, the 2 players who'd once alive. But they would lower. They're actually going to try and walk in through drop down. Minute 30 left. They don't have time to work with. But there's a sentry gun. There's going to be an Uber coming up. They're going to trade it in.
I don't know what I'm watching. I'm going to be honest. That's the most desperate play I've ever seen in my life. The Uber just comes in and it doesn't do anything. Now there's a soldier flanking Flick as well to kill onto Rifle, and actually decent start hit, but Flick is so low. Has to get this arrow from Seeds, and he finally gets it now. It's the League of Shadows. They have to make something happen so quick. Decent damage onto the sniper, but you want to have a little bit more, but the quick scope, the no scope onto Flick shuts down so much, and now it's just Troy trying to walk forward to this sentry gun. Might just finally get spammed down, but is it enough time anymore? I'm just not sure. The round is actually almost captured. There's such a crunch onto the point. Everyone's going down from both sides. Seeds has found an arrow kill, and it's just Sam's and Seeds combining, but the headshot comes out. The sword kill happens, but it is 40 seconds left. And I am pretty sure, unless the League of Shadows start capping mid right now, we might be looking at one hell of an upset to start this new ETF2L season.
Oh, 30 seconds. There's no GGs in chat just yet, so they're not counting their chickens. I don't know if it's possible, but we'll have to see.
This is gonna have to be like the fastest round of all time. I'm gonna be honest. The bomb comes in straight away out of Zams, and it doesn't find the kill onto Playground. Instead, the counter bomb comes out. Seeds is now dead. Yes, there's a demo down, but the trade kills are coming across, and that's exactly what happens. GG's in the chat, as we have a bunch of new up-and-coming from this game. You can see that they are exciting names coming forwards here. As Nati Noot, they take down the League of Shadows in 2 maps. And honestly, for a lot of it, didn't look close. The Zoomers are here, man.
It was really impressive stuff. You know, we doubted them before the game. First 5 minutes of process didn't look good. They looked really uncertain. They looked scared. They gave way too much respect in those first couple of minutes, but they just got a little bit of confidence. They had a couple of fight wins go in their favour, and they looked good. And you got to say, you know, absolutely well done to Nati Noot, but it was a bit of a crumble by League of Shadows overall.
It really felt like, especially that first half of Snakewater, they were just completely out of it. They were losing so many rounds where it felt like they just didn't have any head in the game. When they finally managed to climb back, it's just too little too late. Snakewater is a map. If you get a lead, you can just hold onto it so well. That's exactly what Nati Noot do. Now they're in Prem. So, for the first time, they get to skip the division. They didn't even play Division 1. Guys, these guys didn't even... Imagine what would have happened if the League of Shadows played the team that won Division 2, by the way.
Yeah, they'd got destroyed.
Yeah, it would have been
5-0-5-0.
Yeah.
But either way, we do have some logs we can bring up. And, yeah, again, first thing I'm seeing, difference in medic deaths was pretty important.
Yeah, Fast dies about half as many times as Seeds. And that does make wonders. Unfortunately, once again, guys, like these are it was a slow Snakewater game. What do you want us to say? Look, the scouts have killed. That's my analysis.
Nice stuff. I will say, good damage from Troy and Zams especially. But not going to be enough. The rest of the Nati Noot side doing a lot of damage themselves. And again, I have to say, Zinsoldat was the one who really stepped up and really hit shots when it mattered.
Yeah, he was had some really, really good shots. I want to give a shout out to Force as well. He really played, like, honestly, like, really impressively. He was so hard to hit. Really did a number on seeds, which is not what I was expecting at all coming into this. But Forced, excellent job. Takes his team all the way into Premiership. And this makes me excited for the next season. Now that we've got pretty much everything in the upcoming season. We've got a team of Zoomers, got a team of not Zoomers, we've got the team that we expect to win from the beginning and probably going to win at the end. We've got a French team. What more could you want, Dave?
A Mac team. We've got a Mac team as well.
We've got a Mac team. We've got a Danny team. We've got, got a Josh team. We've got it all, guys. We're only missing a Russian team, but unfortunately, it doesn't quite seem to be happening anymore. This is when right now, we've got all the viewers. This is when I give a quick shout out. If you look as well and you're a little bit confused, there's a lot of things that happen in this off season. You're looking to get a little bit ahead of the pack. Try to catch up to speed on Friday at 21 Central European time. We will be doing an episode of Fully Charged with me, hopefully Lucky, and Pappy, and also Ams. We're going to take you through the off-season happenings, maybe do a tier list or two to help you get up to speed for the new season. Anyway, I don't know what else there's to say. Huge congratulations to Nati Noot for really, honestly, playing an incredible series. They played really well. It doesn't even feel like they played bad and the enemy just played worse. No, it just felt like a solid team. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, really impressed. Really excited what they can do. It's going to be a challenge, definitely going into Prem. A lot of strong teams, as we'll see on, from Friday. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens in the season and if Nati Noot can step up.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Might be one of those seasons where I'm going to be honest. I thought we already had our bottom feeder team. I'm not going to name which team I think that is, but I thought there already was one. But at least now these guys have had some competition as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I said that it may have been the first time we said a lot of these names, but it certainly probably would not be the last time. And I guess I was right, because we will be saying these guys' names a whole lot more for the rest of the season. See what happens. Condolations to League of Shadows, obviously. This is a bit of an L. I want to be honest, I don't really know where you take it from here. I think most of these guys are looking to play in Prem. If they do go on, play Div 1, full respect. Not gonna lie, you take this into Division 1, like, Godspeed, soldier, but something tells me that this team is not long for this world.
Yeah, I'm looking at the transfer pages right now. No one's left yet, so that is good news. Someone got banned today, which is kind of funny, but they're still on the roster for now.
Yeah, seems good. We'll see what happens with them in the future. Obviously, a lot of them are really good, competent players. But with that in mind, once again, Friday, 2 days' time, 24th, 21 CET for Fully Charged ETF2L Winter 2023 preview show, featuring me, featuring Lucky, featuring Pappy from Witness Gaming, featuring Ams from, I think, Cornstarch Gaming is their new name. So, yeah, see you then, 2 days, and then after that, we'll be going. Guys, next week, the season starts. We got more games all the way next week. That's it for us. We're going now.
Please end the stream.
Bye.
Score.